Trump to, yes, serve a third term. Congressman Ogles is here to talk about this plan. So is it a plan? Is it reality? What are the steps, Congressman Ogles? And it's great to see you.
Great, and thank you for having me. Yeah, this week we were down in Miami at the Republican retreat. Obviously, we've been working on reconciliation, which is quite, it's a heavy lift. There's a lot of work to be done to deliver the president's agenda, the people's agenda, quite frankly. But yeah, so I have a bill that would amend the 22nd Amendment. It has to be ratified in the House and the Senate, and then by 38 of the states, 3/4. So it's a lot of work to get it done. But what it would do is allow a president who serves non-consecutive terms to potentially run for a third term. It's only happened twice in history. Once would be Grover Cleveland, and the other one is President Donald Trump. And so if he decided to run, if this was ratified, if he decided to run for a third term, and if the people wanted him, he could technically or would be allowed to run and serve a third term. And the context of this is you look at the damage done by the Biden administration. In 4 years, they did a decade's worth of damage. It's going to take a decade to unwind, and that's why this amendment is so important.
Listen, with the executive orders, Congressman Ogles, we know Donald Trump is creative and he finds laws and he finds ways to work within the system. But is sitting in committee? I mean, what is the actual reality of this getting out to a vote? And if so, I would think, there'd be a lot of folks, since he controls both chambers there, that it has a chance of passing.
Well, again, to be determined. So right now we're working on reconciliation and the debt ceiling. The clock is ticking. We're up against a hard deadline. So that will be our focus. In the meantime, I'll continue to work on this. So it's been presented, it's been offered, and we'll continue to garner support. But look, President Trump won the election, won all the battleground states, won the popular vote because the grassroots, the American people engage. And I think what you're seeing here and the momentum that we're seeing is the American people are going to engage on this issue one way or the other. And we'll see what happens as we move forward. But right now, the clock is ticking. We've got to address some of these fiscal issues.
No doubt. And I do want to ask you about that. But I guess what I'm trying to just put a finer point on is this is not just for show. This isn't just some type of PR stunt. You're actually serious about this 22nd Amendment, and the reality of it happening, you say, remains to be seen. But do stay tuned.
Absolutely. And yes, ma'am, I'm serious about it. I think we need strong leadership at this time in history. I think this is a pivotal point in our country's history. President Trump, in a week, has proven he's a better leader and has accomplished more in a week than Biden did in 4 years.
Well, it's wild. We'll watch it. Obviously, we're living in such historic times, and you all were huddled, as you mentioned, down in Miami. And these reconciliation bills, it seems like they're getting hammered out, and the framework is there. So give us the most up-to-date read on where things stand. And I know part of this is not just things like SALT, which impacts states like, New York, California, but also extending the Trump-era tax cuts, Congressman Ogles.
That's right. So what will be interesting to see as we go forward is, President Trump mentioned one big, beautiful bill. That's the plan that Speaker Johnson grabbed hold of and is beginning to push forward. But the problem with is the larger it is, the more complex it is, the harder it's going to be to pass. And then Leader Thune has come out just yesterday, or this week rather, saying that he favors a two-bill solution. So as we go forward, the House and the Senate will have to reconcile whether it's one bill or two bills, and we'll see. I personally favor the two-bill approach. I think we can deliver the debt ceiling relatively quick for the president. Those are two big priorities for him, and then we can have a longer, more in-depth conversation on tax policy like the tax cuts and SALT. But that being said, we're willing. I'm a member of the House Freedom Caucus, one of the most conservative members of Congress. I'm willing to get this done, but we've got to move quickly.
Time is of the essence. Congressman Andy Ogles, good to have you with us on In Depth this week. Appreciate your time and also some of your first comments about this bill making Donald Trump potentially able to run for another term. Thanks so much, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Next on In Depth, talk about seeing the big picture. New York Magazine is in a tight spot after